Shivandu seems to say that a ray of knowledge, of light, or truth came down upon earth and was badly received, transformed into such a commonplace thing that it simply withdrew. Well, Mother is kind of generalizing it. This ray from above changed into a prophetic gleam, changed into miracle, even the most common meaningless ray. But then, finding no response, withdrew unwanted. No response means what? The kind of thing which she would like to do, for those things are not ready. Things are happening, but she wanted to tackle the basic problem of death, mrityu. Is there, how to tackle that thing. So that is not happening. And therefore, she feels that perhaps another way has to be found for that by taking the mortal birth. It withdrew unwanted feeding. Many times it happened before it could come and stay. Well, Mother is giving you certain concrete examples now here. Well, actually in 1946, the Mother of Love, she was ready to come down here. She was almost here. But then she withdrew. When that happened, the Mother of Love, when she withdrew, she is not coming down at that point. Then a drastic strategy had to be worked out. And Shivandu decided that it can happen only by fixing the supermind in the physical and leaving his body, that she can become out. So her withdrawal was a kind of a hint of his withdrawing on 5th December 1950, you see. Without his withdrawal, things cannot happen. It had to be forced that way only, you see. She wanted to come down here, she is not. Again, same thing. Simply by coming here in that manner is not enough. You have to undergo through the mortal experience for doing certain things, you see. And therefore, she having to abandon his body. That's the mortal sacrifice. Many times it happened before it could come and stay. At least something like a response was needed to keep it, and it came many times, waking up the smallest thing, and then not having sufficient response, it withdrew. Then long periods of preparation, slow, dull preparation, then many times an attempt to descend a ray, and things are lit up, and suddenly they seem marvelous, but so many times they fell back into their usual formal, meaningless ways. Mother is narrating the history of evolution on earth, how things happened earlier. But now, this time, there is a response. Something seems ready, and we shall witness the beginning of the change. So we have only to be attentive, to be awake, to look, and we shall see the beginning of things. Something is beginning to change in the world, as Shivandu says. When it is like that, even the smallest thing becomes a living miracle, obviously. His sacred yearning lingered in his trace. She is withdrawing, but she is leaving something behind. A sacred yearning lingered in his trace. The worship of a presence and a power, they go always together. Presence, the divine being, power, the divine Shakti, they are always together, you see. Presence and the power, too perfect to be held by death-bound hearts. The patience of a marvelous birth to come. Patience of a marvelous birth to come. Now, he is already indicating that this divine goddess, the omniscient goddess, will come by taking this birth, this marvelous birth. She will reappear. She has withdrawn. She will come here. It is the prescience of her coming in the mortal form, taking the mortal birth. Too perfect to be held by death-bound harm. The patience of a marvelous birth to come. Only a little the God light can stay. Spiritual beauty illumining human sight. Lines with passion and mysteries, matters small, and squanders eternity on a bit of time. As when a soul draws near the cell of birth, adjoining mortal time to timelessness, a spark of deity lost in matter script, its luster vanishes in the inconscient flame, that transitory glow of magic fire, so now dissolved in bright accustomed air. He is giving again a simile how she is going back again. We'll see this in more detail later on, but let me quickly say, as when a soul draws near the sill of birth, when it's coming here, about to take birth, adjoining mortal time to timelessness, a spark of deity lost in matter script. So it comes here into matter and suddenly it feels lost, you see. Its luster vanishes in the inconscient planes. It takes birth. That transitory glow of magic fire, so now dissolved in bright accustomed air. It has gone back into its own accustomed air, you see. That is the explanation why the experience does not last. The atmosphere of the earth is too contrary to the magnificence of the Supreme Consciousness and weighs it almost constantly. From time to time, it can show and express itself, but then again, this inconscient atmosphere weighs it. It was like that when in 1956, the supramental power came down upon earth. Mother is narrating that another experience here of 1956. It was coming down in torrents of light, wonderful light and force and power. And from the earth, big waves of deep blue inconscience came up and swallowed it up. You see, all the force that was coming down was swallowed up, and it is again from inside the inconscient that it had to work itself through. That is why things take so much time here. It is too much unconsciousness in the response that weighs what the earth is absorbed. Otherwise, it is long since the light had poured down and things ought to have changed. But we had to work with the hard stuff of here. The message, she came, as an ambassador, she brought a message and she withdrew. The message says, and when the messenger, he goes back, withdrew. The single call, the uncompanioned power, drew back into some far off secret world, the hue and marvel of the supernal beam. She looked no more on our mortality. How sad. The single call, that was the call for the sea. The excess of beauty, natural to God-kind, yes, that is natural to her, God-kind, excess of beauty, could not uphold its claim on time-born eyes. Too mystic real for space-time. This space is too small for her to hold her, you see. Too mystic real for space-time, see. Her body of glory was expunged from heaven. The reality and wonder lived no more. She goes back to him. She has gone back, and then what happens? There was a common light of early day. She has gone back here, and now we are again having the same daily routine here, chasing our bread and butter and our ambitions and our thoughts and our ideas and all that kind of a thing. Common light of earthly day. Now, this whole description, there was the common light of earthly day. This is an echo of Wordsworth's ode to immortality. He says, I saw the cataract speeding up and beauty and joy and all that kind of thing. But then after some time I see that there is nothing there. It's all common, usual thing. Those daffodils are there, those flowers are not there, that lovely thing is not there. Now it's only a common daily routine, looking after bread and butter and that kind of a thing. So this whole description is an echo of what Wordsworth has said in the Ode to Immortality, right in the beginning of that whole thing. We will see that in more detail as we come to that line again. There was the common light of earthly day, absolutely that echoes. Shivan was a professor of poetry in Baroda, he knows everything by heart and he quotes everything. Afferent sighs from the response, from the respite of fatigue. Once more, the rumor of the speed of life pursued the cycles of her blinded quiz, life. Her stands for life. All sprang to their undying daily acts. Well, this is what the routine we are doing, common light. The thousand peoples of the soil and tree obeyed the unforeseen instant's urge, and leader here with uncertain mind, alone who stares at the future's covered face, man lifted up the burden of his fate. Man lifted up the burden of his fate. Obeyed the unforeseen, unseen urge, and leader here with his uncertain mind, that is the quality of our leadership. Man, the mental being, he has an uncertain mind here, and it is he who is bearing up the burden of the whole thing, you see. Alone who stares at the future's covered grave, man lifted up. Now, what it means, and then of course he says, well, let us read what Mother says. He is saying that the earth, the world is not yet ready to manifest the divine in its purity. And spontaneously, naturally, the divine gets veiled, hidden by the ordinary form. And even the difference of vibration is scarcely felt. Until now, in the creation, it is only man who looks at the future. All the rest of the creation is concerned only with the present. So that is the quality of man, something good. He looks at the future. The rest of the world looks only at the present. Man looks at the future and is anxious about it, but the future is veiled. The future's covered face, the next step in the evolution, we see the future. In other words, she is hinting that beyond man, now something else better than man has to appear here. The next step is evolution here. Man lifted up the burden of his fate. But now, let us see quickly this part. And Savitri too awoke among these tribes that hastened to join the brilliant summer's chant, and lured with the beauty of the apparent way, acclaimed the portion of ephemeral joy. And Savitri too awoke among these tribes that hastened to join the brilliant summer's chant, and lured with the beauty of the apparent ways, lured by the beauty of the apparent ways, acclaimed the portion of ephemeral joy. Savitri too awoke among these tribes. Man lifted up the burden of his fate, the mental being. So, Savitri's work begins with the arrival of the mental being on the evolutionary soul. Man has taken the burden on his head. At that point, she knows that he is incapable. Therefore, she takes the mortal birth. She awakes at that point. The arrival of the mental being is the beginning of, so to say, the life story of Savitri in his creation. Not that she is not there working earlier, but it begins consciously from the arrival of the mental being. And Savitri too awoke among these tribes, now here plural. For that, you will have to go to what Shivantu has said in a record of yoga about evolution. The races which were there before the coming of man, Vanaras, Pishachas, so many described here in great detail. We see that in more detail later on. But here described, there was the race of the Vanaras, ready. The mental being was there. In fact, the avatarhood Rama is the beginning of the mental being. Avatarhood of Rama, you see. It is he who has brought Manomaya Purusha forward. And you can see the transition between the Vanaras and the divine beings coming afterwards, you see. So it is at that point of time that Savitri arrives on the scene, you see. So, in terms of evolution, there were, in Greek mythology also you got giants and titans and the gods later on come into picture, you see. So giants and titans were there much before that. At that time, these were not. So Savitri's arrival here is at this particular point of the arrival of the mental being, those those tribes which are there, in which the mental being had arrived. It is at that point Savitri also steps into action. You see. Man lifted up the burden. We'll see this in more detail as we go to the entire text of the record of Yuga about that. It's a very detailed account Shivandu has given in a record of Yuga. He is saying that the earth, the world is not ready, obviously, but it had to be prepared. No? See, even in the story of our avatarhood, you start with Matsya, fish, then tortoise, slowly Varaha. See, they are now getting ready, sort of slowly. Vamana is also there, Parshuram is there. Then at that time, the avatarhood of Rama appears. And it is from that point onward, the evolutionary mental being comes forward more permanently. So the work of Savitri begins with that particular thing at the time.